EVIE Pig was born very recently, so she's still just an adorable little baby. But have you ever stopped to think about what things will be like in the future when EVIE grows up? Music. She's definitely going to be a very creative kid, just like George and Peppa. Only she'll be even more into the arts, especially music, which will become her biggest passion. The Pig family already has a noticeable connection to music, which we can see in the episode where each of them plays a musical instrument. And even though none of them are used to playing, they're all naturally good at picking up at least one instrument, which means music is probably a hidden talent in the family. If one of them actually wanted to develop that skill, they'd become a real musician. And we think that's exactly what's going to happen with EVIE. While her relatives are great with instruments, she'll take things further and become a singer, and everyone's gonna love hearing her amazing voice. Since the show already features musical moments from time to time, this makes total sense. Most of the characters sing, but the songs are usually silly, and their singing voices are just okay. Not great, but not terrible either. EVIE, on the other hand, will have a voice that steals the spotlight and takes Peppa Pig's musical scenes to a whole new level. If that's really the case, the number of musical episodes could go up quite a bit. Because of that, the little one will probably take singing lessons, and there will be episodes where Mummy Pig takes her to school for her music classes. She might even pursue a singing career when she's older. But we think she'll keep music as a hobby, at least at first. Want to hear more about EVIE Pig's amazing future? Then hop on this wave, because Cinewave is starting now. Marine biologist. Like we said, we don't think EVIE is going to want to be a professional singer right away. First, she'll treat it as a hobby and study for a different career. And honestly, we think she'll have an idea of what that career will be from an early childhood. She'll want to become a marine biologist and study all kinds of animals. Why? Well, EVIE doesn't have a strong personality yet since she's still a newborn, but one of the few things she's already shown is that she loves rubber duckies. Her favorite toys are all duckies, so much so that her room is filled with them. That's bound to evolve sooner or later into a full-blown love for every kind of sea creature, and that will inspire EVIE to spend her life studying them. Of course, later on, grown-up EVIE might turn her passion for music into a career, and if that happens, we're sure she'll become one of the most popular singers in the UK. But since she'll want to be a marine biologist out of love for animals, it's very likely she'll keep that job even after making it big as a singer. In that case, EVIE will have 2 jobs, and that's not even rare in the Peppa Pig universe. After all, Mummy Pig is both a writer and a firefighter. Not to mention Miss Rabbit, right? That one has more jobs than hours in a day. Inspiration. Speaking of Mummy Pig, we think she's gonna play a major role in EVIE's life. I mean, sure, having a supportive mom is always important, but this goes deeper. EVIE is going to see her mom as a true inspiration and will want to follow in her footsteps. That'll be one of the reasons she decides to be both a marine biologist and a singer, thinking, if my amazing mom has 2 jobs, why can't I do the same? But of course, that's not the only thing she'll admire. EVIE will grow up watching Mummy Pig do everything she can to take care of her and give her the best life possible. So naturally, EVIE will want to do the same thing when she's older, meaning she'll want to start a family and have kids while still keeping her career, instead of becoming a full-time stay-at-home mom. It's just one more way the show can remind little girls that you don't have to give up your dreams just because you have kids, as long as both parents share the responsibilities like Daddy and Mummy Pig do. Another trait EVIE will inherit is unshakable bravery, something Mummy Pig has in abundance, considering she works as a firefighter and risks her life putting out fires. We'll probably see EVIE showing her bold side as soon as she learns to walk and talk. But this kind of inspiration might backfire sometimes, like when she gets herself into trouble or refuses to ask for help. Of course, eventually she'll learn that it's okay to feel a little scared and that asking for help doesn't make you weak. So, what do you think? Would you like the show to show us EVIE's future too? If yes, drop a comment below, #future. Best friend. A lot of kids have a best friend, especially in Peppa Pig. Pretty much everyone has a buddy they can always count on. Peppa and Susie Sheep, George and Richard Rabbit. So of course EVIE wouldn't be left out of that. We believe she'll have a best friend too, and we've even got to guess who it might be. Rosie Rabbit, daughter of Mummy Rabbit, younger sister of Richard, and twin sister of Robbie. After all, she and Robbie were born pretty recently in the Peppa Pig universe and are among the newest characters, just a little older than EVIE. So, Peppa's little sister will probably go to school with them at Madame Gazelle's once she gets a bit older, and that's where she'll become best friends with Rosie. Plus, the Pig family is already really close with the Rabbit family, and George already has Richard as his best friend. That'll only bring the families even closer, with the parents visiting each other more often so the kids can hang out and play together. Crush. And we think that all of this will lead to EVIE developing a crush on none other than Robbie Rabbit, her best friend's twin brother. Since both families are always together, the kids will grow up playing side by side. And while that'll strengthen Evie's bond with Rosie, it'll also help her slowly develop feelings for Robbie. At first, the two of them will just be really good friends, and they'll stay that way for a long time, until Evie eventually starts to feel something more. Of course, their friendship will only turn into a romance much later, once they're both in their teenage years. Both the pig and rabbit families will be thrilled when they find out the two are dating, and the lovebirds will totally have their parents' blessing. Maybe, when she's all grown up, Evie will live out her dream of getting married and having kids with Robbie. There's also a chance they break up and Evie meets someone else, but that's not really the kind of storyline Peppa Pig usually dares to show, right? If they ever do though, we'd seriously give them props. Video games. Since Evie is much younger than Peppa and George, we think the show's really gonna try to show that she's from a totally different generation, and one way to make that clear is by showing how much more connected she is to the digital world than her older siblings. Peppa and George do play on the computer sometimes, but it's obvious they're not exactly tech experts. Evie, on the other hand, will be taught how to use devices from a young age, and soon enough, she'll find a brand new passion: video games. She'll start out playing silly little mobile games, but as she gets older, she'll end up trying out every kind of game. This could even become a problem, with Evie refusing to play with her siblings and friends just so she can stay glued to her screen 24/7. If it gets to that point, her parents will probably ban her from gaming for a while. Evie will get super mad, but it's easy to picture that being the moment she rediscovers how much fun real-life playtime actually is. Almost as fun as watching us. And you'll never miss a video about your favorite cartoons if you hit that subscribe button. Pretty great idea, right? Soccer. Another thing she'll very likely fall in love with is soccer. Of course, only after she gets over her video game obsession. The reason is simple: soccer is the most popular sport in the UK, so much so that kids even play it during the show. So if she ends up showing interest in something physical, joining a soccer team is a pretty logical choice. And if we consider the possibility of her becoming addicted to gaming, it's easy to imagine Mummy Pig signing E up for a sport just to stop her from spending all her time on the couch or in front of the computer screen. So get ready to see Peppa's little sister joining a girls' soccer team and playing alongside other girls like her friend Rosie and their classmates. Wouldn't it be awesome to have an episode where their team competes in a tournament against other towns? Just one more amazing storyline Evie could lead in the future. Ballet. Another thing Evie will probably get into around the same time as soccer is ballet, a super cool style of dance. And just like soccer, ballet has already been featured in the show in an episode where Madame Gazelle teaches Peppa and the other kids how to dance ballet. That means Evie's older sister already knows a thing or two and could teach her little sister during one of their playtimes, which is when Evie will discover she really enjoys it. That would be the perfect setup for multiple episodes centered around ballet, and it would also help Evie grow up learning how to manage a busy schedule. Ballet, soccer, music, and of course a few hours of gaming here and there, which totally fits with her future goal of having 2 jobs when she grows up. Imaginary friend. And what if, on top of all that, Evie gets an imaginary friend? Peppa has her teddy bear Teddy, and George has Mr. Dinosaur. Even though George never lets go of his toy, we can't really call them imaginary friends. He knows his toy isn't alive. Peppa, on the other hand, talks to her Teddy as if he were real, but she doesn't actually believe he's alive. Although, let's not forget the theories floating around that Teddy might be a possessed doll, something we've already talked about in a few of our videos. So, one way to make Evie stand out even more from her siblings would be to have her truly believe that her rubber duck is alive, something the rest of the family would only start to realize as she gets older. Everyone would go along with it as if it were real, at least until Evie gets big enough to realize that her friend was imaginary all along. Having fun? Why stop now? If you want to keep going, just pick one of the 2 videos we've left on your screen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time!